We should probably turn the lights blonde. Did I just call the lights blonde? What the hell? I was gonna make some grandiose excuse as to why it took me so long to post this video, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I was looking for Mormons that I would be able to talk to about Mormonism, but none of them wanted to talk to me. I think that's pretty weird coming from a religion whose main goal is to convert everybody. Suspicious? I think so. Anyway, welcome back to Matt's Cool TED Talks. Today we're going to be covering two topics because view time equals money, and me likey money. Your next question probably is, Matt, what is that stupid thing on your head? The answer is, it's now March. God, I took too long to post stuff. And so, as a result, this is my leprechaun hat. Deal with it. So the two topics we're going to be talking about today are Mormons, as was promised to you on December 24th, 2019.
And you have a quick statement on why I hate the Mormon religion. What's wrong with the Mormons, man? So many things.
And something that's come up in the news quite recently, the coronavirus.
I sailed away to China, picked up the coronavirus, then they said I had to be in quarantine.
So we're gonna have a fun time. So even though a Mormon wouldn't talk to me in real life, I managed to live chat with one over the Church of Latter-day Saints website because that is an option. Let me relay to you how the conversation sort of went. Hi, welcome to the Church of Latter-day Saints. My name is Elder Watermore, and yes, my tie may be a sock that I just shoved in my shirt, but that's because I only own bow ties and the show's on a budget. How can I help you? So I had a question regarding Section 89 of Doctrines and Covenants. This is the statute that says that Mormons can't drink coffee, tea, or alcohol. It's not an actual part of the Book of Mormon, but it's an add-on, kind of like how the Apocrypha is an add-on to the Bible. Yeah, so I was wondering, does that pertain to just coffee and tea, or can I not drink Diet Coke as well? According to Article 89 of Doctrines and Covenants, members of the Church of Latter-day Saints are not allowed to drink coffee or tea because they are used for better purposes rather than consumption. So you're saying I can drink Diet Coke? In theory, I suppose, yes. Excellent. So my next question is this. Whenever you guys do communion, do you do that with wine? Because, that's what you do communion with? Or does the entire religion just use grape juice? So, first of all, it's called sacrament, not communion.
It's called sacrament, not communion.
Actually, it's BCE, not AD.
And secondly, we use water. Hold on, if God is perfect, then why would he change his mind and allow you to do that whenever everybody else who isn't you has to do the wine thing? Well, because they aren't God's chosen people. The Garden of Eden was in Jackson County, Missouri. Well, yeah. From your perspective, they're not. But why specifically do you use water? Because just like our Lord, water is pure. Duh. I mean, we're not allowed to drink alcohol, so that's sort of our only option. Okay, but the very founders of your religion, including Jesus, drank wine. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But you know what? It's fine. We're just gonna leave it be. Next, I wanted to ask you about African Americans in the Mormon Church. Of course. What's your question? So in 1978, your church allowed African Americans to join the Mormon Church. My question is, why weren't they allowed to join it in the first place? The reason that African Americans weren't allowed into the Church of Latter-day Saints until 1978 is because God just wasn't ready to preach to them yet. You see, back whenever there were 12 tribes of Israel, God only preached to 2 of them. Eventually he preached to all 12, but he only preached to 2 of them at first, because the other tribes were worshiping idols and things that were not God. Okay, but still, that's a race-based thing. Religion should never be based on race. You essentially have told those people, look, because of the color of your skin, you will not be saved by God. And No other sect of Christianity, or at least big major sect, is like that, okay? The Lutherans let African Americans in, the Baptists let African Americans in, the Catholics let African Americans in. Heck, the Catholics have been teaching minorities about Catholicism since Christopher Columbus came over on the Nina, the Pinta, or the Santa Maria. One of those three.
It was the Santa Maria.
So my follow-up question to that sort of is that if God changed his mind to allow African Americans into the church, do you think maybe he could change his mind again and allow homosexuals into the church?
What? No. God would never change his mind on that. I mean, the union between a man and a woman is perfect, and it's the only one that should be encouraged.
I'm sorry, what? That doesn't make any sense.
I'm a little confused here. See, if I were to ask a Mormon before the year 1978 about the African American population, they probably would have claimed that God would never change his mind on this. And now I'm talking to you, and you're saying he'll never change his mind on this. Do you think if I talk to a Mormon 20 years down the line, they could say that God changed his mind? Because you're claiming that he would never change it because it is, quote, perfect. But perfection is based upon perspective. So, from a homosexual's perspective, the union between a man and a woman is an option, but it may not be the perfect option. So I don't really understand. But you know what? That's okay. It's your religion. You might just want to go pray about that. I don't know if you can see the gaping flaw in that logic, but the idea that God would change his mind for one thing and not for another thing that isn't even all that different. I mean, yes, one is a technicality, but the other is also a technicality. You're inserting one word, the word being gay. I mean, the church already did it with African Americans in 1978. And so frankly, the idea that they wouldn't allow gay people in 2020 is appalling to me. I just think it's kind of hypocritical because your religion is trying to push inclusivity. That's why you go door to door and you try to convert everybody to Mormonism. But at the same time, you exclude a group of people simply because of something about themselves that science has literally said they cannot help. And you can try to push back with an argument of,
But Matt, it is just a choice. I mean,
psychology major. We study this. We study homosexuality and we find that it is heritable, meaning it's built into your genetics. There is no way that you can possibly just choose, you know what I mean? And I think discriminating against people for that is kind of stupid. Sorry. As a whole, I'm not a big fan of giant group religion. I feel like religion should be an individual thing, and you should be able to decide your faiths on your own, rather than have other people tell you what you're going to believe as a group. And so, as a whole, I just don't agree with the beliefs of Mormonism, and that's okay. Okay, welcome to America. We're allowed to have differing opinions. I'm not advocating the destruction of the Mormon church. I'm not advocating, murder of Mormons. Those are all bad things. I'm simply opening up a discussion that I feel like needs to be had, because it's 2020. Alright, now on to the next topic. George, I believe this is your thing.
Alright, yeah. I don't mean to do this to you, but is there any way that I could get some of that chair action? Yeah, thank you.
hello there, everybody. This is the first time I've ever given one of these talks while sitting down in a chair rather than out in the wilderness. But here goes nothing. So I spent the past 3 years in Tibet, right? I only recently came back to start doing these videos. It's a whole ordeal. I don't really want to talk about it. But I learned some stuff while I was over there. The coronavirus isn't as bad as people are making it out to be. Alright, most of the people dying from it are the elderly. So if you're over the age of 65, yeah, go ahead, freak out, whatever. But if you're under the age of 65 and you're overly freaking out, you don't need to be. Just about everybody alive has been sick at some point. unless you're an infant. But I'd basically like to add that this is no different from any other sort of sickness, alright? This isn't like Ebola, where if you catch it, you're dead immediately. This isn't like cancer, where there is no cure for it and it will ultimately kill you. It's like a cold or a flu. It's a respiratory illness. You're going to start coughing a little bit. You're going to get a fever. You're going to have a little bit of trouble breathing. You're going to cough up some phlegm. But the best thing that you can do with viruses like this is treat the symptoms, right? So if you take cold medicine that is supposed to clear you out, or you take anti-congestion spray, those are going to help you a lot. Yes, the coronavirus is in America. Yes, it spreads rampantly, mostly because people are coughing on other people, and all of a sudden it circulates. But it's not the end of the world, is what I'm trying to say here. If you're over the age of 65, I recommend not going out in public very often, because, there's a chance you could catch it. But if you're under the age of 65, I would not live in fear of this disease. It's going to pass. And I know what you're thinking, the president's making light of it. He is. He very much is. I am with you on that. But it's not going to kill everybody. And it shouldn't be causing as much mass hysteria as it is. If that makes sense. That's all I've got to say about that. Just don't freak out over it, because it's not worth freaking out over. Thank you. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Matt's Cool TED Talks. I will try to come out with a newer video sooner. I can't speak English for right now for some reason. We're currently at 97 subscribers, and if we can get to 100, which is just 3 more, I think that would be awesome. And as I said before at Christmas, if we get to 150, my roommate will stop vaping. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, the only way to achieve happiness is by looking within, according to philosopher Epictetus.